Do you want to feel better? That's what we're going to talk about today on this edition of Tuesday Talks with Twyla. Now, you know, I talk a lot about thought work, what we're thinking and how important it is, how we need to be aware of it, how we need to manage our thinking, and how our thinking creates our results. But that's the shortcut, right? So, in between our thoughts and our results are our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings drive our actions. And so, the way we feel determines what we do or what we don't do. And then that is what creates our results. So, the shortcut is our thoughts create our results. But I feel like we don't always spend enough time working on how we're feeling. And I think a lot of times, even for me, I feel like it's happening to me, right? Like this is just how I feel. Like I'm a victim of how I'm feeling. And so I just let it be. But then I'll notice where something will shift. So let's say I hear the dryer buzzer and I'm sitting on the couch doing something and I don't feel like getting up to go fold the clothes. Rarely do I. I'm sure there's a few of you that fall in this category. And so I won't get up and go fold the clothes. And at some point though, something will shift and I'll go get up and fold the clothes. And as I have gotten curious about this, like, well, what is happening here? What is shifting? What is changing between when I'm just sitting comfortably on the couch and when I actually get up and go do the thing? Now, the laundry is just one example, right? It might be the dishes or doing, the things after supper or just going to sit down and saying, we'll do it in a little bit or saving it till morning. It can be lots of different things. It can be the things on your calendar. It can be a deadline at work. It can be a project that you're working on and you need to do like an hour a day or a certain amount of time progressively to complete these things. And I want to say that these are things that we want to do, that we need to do, or that we should be doing, right? And I want to make sure we're not using this against ourselves in the way that we sometimes will use shoulds against ourselves, right? Like we should fold the clothes when they're dry so that they're out of the dryer and the next person can use the washer and dryer. There's currently 5 people in my household. So leaving clothes in the dryer means that someone else is going to come along and want to use them and either have to fold your clothes or they're going to dump them in a laundry basket. I got boys, so generally dumping them in the laundry basket is what happens and leaving them sit for you. Inconvenient, right? So these are things that we arguably want to do. We want to have clean clothes. I want to have the kitchen clean, especially when I come in the morning. And they need to be done in that they can't just sit there and be dirty or the clothes, can't just sit there. I mean, at some point, someone will have to move them, right? And the deadlines at work and all the things that we have are things that we want to do, need to do, and should be doing, right? So they all fall into that category. And they can be personal, they can be at work, they can be anywhere in our life. If we're trying to reach new goals or achieve new things, whatever it is, there's things that need to be done. And the difference between getting up and doing them and sitting comfortably on the couch is all based on how we're feeling in the moment and generally speaking throughout the day. So when you get curious about this, the first thing you'll notice is that you're comfortable on the couch, right? You're comfortable making the decision in the moment to not do the thing because our human nature, our human design is that we conserve energy. We stay comfortable. We seek pleasure, avoid pain. We conserve energy. Fits into all of that, right? Not doing the thing fits into all of that. That's our human nature, is to not do. But here's the other thing. The other part of our human nature is that we have drive and we have ambition and we have desires that are bigger than that want to keep us progressing, that want to keep us growing, that want to keep us changing. And so those are obviously in complete conflict of each other, right? So when we know that, we can just understand it. Makes perfect sense. That's how we were designed, right? That's the balance between staying safe and staying alive in the old caveman survival days and progressing from the caveman days to what our modern life is today, right? That's how that happened. Is we survived because of our survival instincts, which we still have, and we progressed to today because we have that other part of us that has that drive and ambition to grow and expand, right? Magnificent when you really think about it. But today, more of our life should be based on the progress and the growth and the learning because we have less issues with survival, right? We've created all of this environment that is fairly safe. But that survival mechanism is still part of who we are. We just have to understand that and just know that. But I fall into this trap too. So for me, I got to thinking like, if I'm experiencing this, likely many of you are too. And I do spend a lot of time focused on our thoughts, right? I talk about our thoughts, our thought work, managing our thoughts on a regular basis. But I don't always talk about managing how we're feeling. And so if you do the thought work that I recommend, and I do, I'm focused on what am I thinking? What am I thinking? But here's the thing that I think that we're missing when we just start with the thought work. This was kind of a recent aha moment for me. Is there are a lot of times when I do my thought work that I really struggle with finding the thought, especially if I'm like asking specifically, what am I thinking right now? Sometimes I can come up with it, but other times I can't. And I feel like generally, if I'm not trying so hard, but I just kind of let my mind mill around on, let's try to figure out what's going on with me today, then it'll kind of bubble to the surface. And I've struggled with this for a very long time. Even before I got into my coaching certification, I took a mindfulness self-compassion class. And in there, we discovered how much resistance and almost like it's like an avoidance, but it's super sneaky. And I find it really hard to uncover what's going on. Like I have like this, layer of like force field where I can't find the information. And maybe this is common. I don't know. I mean, there was a group of, I don't remember how many of us were in there, maybe six. I seem to struggle with this the most. I don't know that they didn't struggle with it at all. So I think it might be fairly common. So I got to thinking that because I always focus on the thoughts, I don't always focus on how I'm feeling. And so what I realized was when I ask that question, what am I feeling and why? I uncover different information than what am I thinking? And I'm blaming some of this on how I'm a little more sneaky about some of this stuff and have a little bit harder time uncovering maybe what's under the surface for, what's going on for me. But it was like magical when I was like, okay, I'll spend a lot of the day feeling, I'm going to say frumpy or just kind of like down or negative, and I won't really know why. And then I'll shift my focus to what I'm thinking, what I should be thinking, right? I'm really good about that. But there's a disconnect there because the two weren't related. How I was feeling was based on something else. And what I was thinking when I was managing it, that was over here, right? Because how many thoughts do we have in a day, right? And in those moments when I'm managing it, great, right? But then if I'm feeling a certain way, there's something else going on as well. And that, for me, was being ignored. And so when I ask those questions and get those answers, I have now a new awareness of something I can work on. And it felt different. It felt more nurturing to acknowledge how I was feeling and what was going on and having compassion always, right? And just getting curious, like, why do you feel like this today? Why? And a lot of times it would be, I've always struggled with waking up early in the morning. If there's anything stressing me or bothering me, it will be my 3 a.m. alarm, 5 a.m. alarm that will wake me up, and it'll just be like this ick feeling. And then, for the longest time, I would just redirect my thoughts and ignore. And I mean, so now as I'm saying this, as I'm revealing this to you, I'm revealing it to myself. I was ignoring how I was feeling. And I was doing the thought work. Like, okay, my goal at the time, right? 5 a.m., 4 a.m. is to go back to sleep. Shut your mind off. Let's think something calming and let's go back to sleep. But I was ignoring how I was feeling. And then I realized, and then it kept happening. So then I realized, okay, I just need to allow whatever this is that's coming up. I just need to allow it to be there and stop trying to force it away or push it away. And so I changed my strategy. In the morning when I'd wake up in the panic, I would just allow it. I feel panicked, and I would just acknowledge and name the feeling. This is how I feel. It feels like someone socked me in the gut. It feels like I'm short of breath. It feels like I'm panicked and scared. And it's okay, but it's okay. I'm laying in bed. I'm safe. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way, right? I just allowed it. And what that opened up for me was a completely different experience. And this aha, kind of funny that was like quite a while ago that was happening, but it's still a behavior that resurfaces if there's any little thing that I'm kind of worried about. And so as I'm telling you this today, as I had this recent aha that like I don't always address the feelings, the emotions, like what am I feeling and why am I feeling that way today? And it would be something I would push to the back burner, or I would ignore, or I would not give my attention to. And I would realize that like day after day, or some days wouldn't be like that and other days would. It's like, what is going on? Because what I felt like is I was losing track of those days. I wasn't intentional. I wasn't doing the things I wanted to do. I was like stuck in this frumpy rut of like some vague negativity that I didn't really have clarity around because I was ignoring it. I was pushing it away. I was like, it's another day, it's a new day, and we've had great weather. So like, right? Like I have all these reasons to be positive. Like I'm fine. Like this is fine. And I wasn't actually getting curious about what am I feeling and why am I feeling this way? And it cracks open this whole new awareness of what was going on for me. What is going on that I just feel crummy, that I just feel negative, that I just feel down? And when you ask it that way and comfort yourself in the emotion that you're having, right? Because if you go through any of my work, you'll know that we're going to always come to everything with kindness and compassion, but we want to just allow whatever's there. So when we open up to the awareness and the curiosity, we want to make sure that we're allowing whatever we discover. We're not trying to push it away. We're not trying to change it. We're not trying to redirect. We're just allowing. I like this new concept I've come up with. It's like data collection. That's all we're doing. We're just being curious. We're just being open and becoming aware of it all and allowing all of it through the process so that there isn't that resistance or that push. Because especially if, like, for me, what I've been noticing is this overall like negative flavor of just feeling frumpy, feeling down, feeling negative, but I didn't really know what or why, what was behind it, what was happening. And so it was just kind of like this blanket emotion that would kind of like not really drive or direct the day, but it would just affect the whole day, right? And generally speaking, we don't want to be like that's not the experience I want to have. I don't want to have these negative days. I don't want to have these down days. But we all experience this from time to time. So there's that natural, especially if you follow my work, right? The goal is to embrace the positivity and address the negativity. And so the natural reaction or response would be, I don't want that there. I don't want to have a bum day. I don't want to have a downer day. And so when we're doing this work, we want to be very, very conscious that we're not coming to it from that standpoint, that we're not coming to it with the need to change it, that this needs to end, this needs to change, it can't be this way, right? Just come to it with more openness of what's here, what's happening, why do I feel this way, right? And I'll tell you that sometimes I have the answer and sometimes I don't. But like I've always taught you, when you ask yourself the question and you don't have the answer, your mind will go to work to find it. So if in the morning I'm feeling frumpy and I ask myself the question, like, what's going on with you, right? And my coach always says, she always refers to herself as love. So what's going on, love? Like, what's happening for you, love? And I love that. I love that endearing. It feels comforting. It feels like a warm hug. It just feels like being held and being comforted and supported from ourselves. It's so amazing. And we all need to be doing this, right? Like, this is the self-love that I preach. This is the self-care. This is always being there for ourselves. And when I ask the question, sometimes I have the answer, but sometimes I don't. And so if I don't in the moment, guess what my brain does? It continues to work on it. And this for me is what I have found to be like so magical, because if I can't always find the answer in the moment, which is pretty common for me, this allows my brain to keep working on it. It's kind of like when you're trying to remember something and you can't, and they'll tell you that, your brain will keep searching through until it finds the answer. It'll keep working on it, right? It's the same thing. And so I just know that I don't have to like sit there white knuckled, like, when am I going to get the answer? I can just go about my day. Like, okay, well, I'm not quite sure. I'm just curious and open to it. And then in the background, while I'm doing other things, right? Like while I'm getting ready in the morning, or while I'm picking out the clothes or brushing my teeth, or mindless things that I'm doing, driving to the office, right? I'm uncovering some stuff like, well, this is this is why, or this is what you're thinking, or this is, and I understand that it's the thoughts that I'm having, right? But the answer to the why do you feel this way, right? The answer is the thoughts. So that's what's coming up. So understanding this dynamic and how this works, you understand what you're getting when you're collecting the data. What are these data pieces? It's the thoughts you're thinking, right? It's this is what you're thinking about. This is what you're worrying about, right? Which is just a thought you think over and over. Sometimes it's a irrational thought we talked about last week. Sometimes it's just, some made up things, or things we're concerned about or afraid of, right? That whole the concept of fear. And that reveals itself maybe intermittently throughout the day. And now I know what's going on at a deeper level. I'm not just coasting through this crummy day. I'm like addressing it. I'm giving it my attention and building the awareness around what is going on. Why do I feel this way? And I'm not trying to change it. I'm just allowing it and getting curious about it. And now I have all the information I need to make the changes that I want to create something different. And now, if you've ever grabbed any of my work, I have all of these steps in all of it, because it's always the same, right? The model itself puts all of these different components into the model, which is just a framework that lets you see everything and its relation and how it's creating the results and it's the impact on your life. And then you know exactly what you can change and where you can change to create different results, which is great. Now you have all of the information, right? You have all the puzzle pieces. You actually have them in the order. You have everything filled out. You have all the data collected, right? Now what do you do with it, right? And always we allow whatever's there. We have compassion for feeling crummy, feeling down. We understand why, right? Because now we've revealed the thoughts behind it. And we can have compassion and say, okay, do we want the rest of the day to be this way, or do we want to create some change here? And maybe there's either some irrational thoughts that we really need to just address, or maybe there's like some like unfounded fears, or like the things that we're afraid of that are really, I mean, for the most part, made up, right? Like we're afraid to take action because we might fail, or we're afraid to put ourselves out there because what will people think? Like all of those, I'm going to say unfounded fears, all that stuff's made up in our head, right? And so when we understand all of that, and we have all the information, we can decide something different for ourselves. We can decide, okay, I've got all this. I want to work through this. Now I want to do my thought work. Now I want to go through and make some decisions around what I just revealed. And I can create a different result. I can create a different experience for the rest of my day. I don't have to feel this way all day if I don't want to. Now, let's say you find something related to a sadness around grief or something like that, and it's well-founded, right? It's legitimate. It's not like made up, right? Like you genuinely miss someone or you decide you want to be sad. That is totally fine. The goal here isn't always to change or to never have a negative experience or a negative emotion, right? There's time for that. There's allowance for that. And it's always up to us, right? And we always get to decide how we want these things to impact our lives. And some days it's like, yeah, I'm sad today and I want to be sad today. I feel like this is honoring my loved one. This is, respect or a reflection, whatever it is for me. And that's what I want to experience today. And I make that decision consciously, right? Which is totally different than you know, coasting through the day, floating through the day with just complete negativity. We don't even know why. We don't, right? We're not honoring or, addressing anything or actually experiencing anything really either because we're just kind of like, and we're just coasting that way the whole day. We're just kind of disconnected or not aware, head in the clouds, kind of foggy, all of that. And that's different than deciding intentionally and experiencing it on purpose. Totally different. And that's what I want for all of us. I want us to decide what we want our experiences to be and then create them intentionally because we have the power to do that. How amazing. We just don't utilize it. And even I don't, right? So that's why I keep bringing you these things that like I continue to go through and like the work is never done, right? It's ongoing. And if you find that frustrating, me too, right? I mean, I would like to work out once a week or, not have to have it be, I work out, regularly, I build the strength and then, I get sick or I'm out of town and it takes some time off and then I get back to it and it's hard all over again, right? That frustrates me, but that is the way it is. And that's how it is with this work too. And so I'll be talking more about that too, because changing our mindset around how our mindset works can also benefit us to make more progress, right? I completely understand it being frustrating sometimes that some of this stuff doesn't stick. But like I said at the beginning, our human design is survival first, which is what has gotten us to the point where we have our modern day life, which is the expanded growth version of all the things we have available to us today. And we wouldn't have that without both pieces. Our human design has the survival mechanism and it has that progress and growth desire. And so when you put the two together, we survived back in the caveman days and look at where we've gone. Like look what we've achieved in mankind. Like it's just the things that are available to us are just unbelievable. But it took both of those to get there. And we still have that survival mechanism as part of us. It's who we are. And so we just have to know and understand that and then work around it, right? Same thing with our muscles. They don't stay strong unless we keep lifting. And our brain is the same way. It doesn't stay diligent or intentional unless we keep working. So this work is ongoing, but if you want to feel better, this is an excellent exercise to figure out how you're feeling now and why, and then what to do with it all, right? And if you struggle with any of this, I'm always here to help you. I would love to jump on a call and talk through it with you or send me a message. I would love to help you out with any of it. So I hope that this is kind of an aha for you, like it has been for me. It's been a little bit like transformational for me to just kind of figure this out because I've had some frumpy days and I'm honestly kind of tired of it. And then I realized like I wasn't addressing this. I was working this from a different angle and I was ignoring this angle over here. So this can be the difference between getting the things done that you want to do and accomplishing your goals and exceeding your expectations of all the things that you want in your life. And so I just feel like this has the potential to crack open an entire new realm of possibility, which I find super exciting. Like this was such a big aha for me, but also like I just feel like it just blew the lid off of the possibility. Now, I've always known the possibilities are endless, right? Because this is the work I do. This is right. Like this is everything. This is my world. And still, like as I learn and apply this to myself, like there's always more, there's always something new or a different nuance. And Of course, I'm going to bring this all to you as it happens, but just know that this might be the secret to unlock, for sure, unlimited potential, like blow the top off kind of potential. So I hope that's what's available to you. It is. I know it's available. I hope that you take advantage of it to see this revelation in your life as well. So with that, I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you feel great between now and next week, and I will see you next week.